Did you guys ever expected that mage is gonna be the worst class in Season of Discovery when it comes to PvP? Me neither, okay? But because they added all these overpowered abilities from Wrath of the Lich King and the Burning Crusade, right? Rogue and Priest were already overpowered even before they added Mutilate to Rogues, even before they added free teleport and 50% slow for no good reason. It almost feels like a lot of these deos never played a good PvP game in their lives, you know? It's the current problem with Season of Discovery is that nobody really learns their class and play it efficiently, right? Nobody knows how to play Paladin properly. How to use all their utilities. They just spam these overpowered runes and they think they understand the class, right? Same with Priest, same with all these other, you know, nobody's learning the class. And a big issue is that now everybody is just waiting for the next patch notes to see which class is gonna be more overpowered in the next phase. Is this really the Season of Discovery we wanted, guys? You see, a big problem with tier list is that it's very hard to make tier lists, because in order to make a tier list you have to have a high understanding of all the classes, and you literally have to play each class to even understand them to such extent, which most players who make tier lists don't really do that, you know. You know what is ironic? I also just realized that mages are, you know, not really good in PvP, but they totally break the game in PvE. It almost feels like Blizzard intentionally designed mage class for gold buyers and real world trading. It is that is how it feels like. They have been breaking the whole game. You know, Blizzard already knew that mages farming dungeons was a problem, but no, they keep on adding more powerful AoE abilities without any mana cost. They keep adding even self-heal on AoE. Right? So how can you guys tell me that it's not like they designed this game for gold buyers and real world trading? That's insane, right? And now we are talking about if warriors should be able to hold 3 mobs. Meanwhile, mages are literally clearing whole dungeons and they totally break the game and the economy, right? Like, you know what is also ironic? Protection Warrior and Druid Bears are supposed to be the most known and the most common tanks in dungeons, but currently it feels like everybody else is better tank than them, right? They nerf Devastate, Thunderclap is still pretty much not a good ability, Swipe is pretty much useless, right? And I just saw this thread on WoW Reddit, right, when they say that they have no intention to buff some of the tanks, right? Meanwhile, mages are literally soloing the whole dungeons, and warriors and the bears cannot hold aggro of a few mobs. This is where the balance is at currently. And I think it's about time we talk about some of these issues, right? Because, you know, the hopium ran low, now it's time to talk about the issues. Okay, let's talk about it, let's fix it, you know. Also guys, I just wanna quickly mention what is currently the biggest problem of Season of Discovery. There is no new content here, it is just artificial content that wastes our time. You see, runes are just wasting our time. There is no new content, no new dungeons. Most of the runes are actually just from future expansions. Where is the creativity? Where is the innovation here? We are paying you guys $13 a month so you guys can come with something better. You could literally just took a Shockwave or Bladestorm or Spell Reflect and people would be at least happy, right? Let's not even go into balance currently. Games 20 years ago had better balance than today. So, what do you guys think about this? Which class do you prefer the most currently? Which class you think is the most overpowered? You see, the problem with mage, you know, I never thought I'm gonna put mage so low, but currently mage in PvP is just frustrating. You get two-shotted by almost anybody. They all have better abilities than you do. Most casters destroy you, most melee classes destroy you, right? I don't really understand why we needed to add, you know, teleport, 50% slow, range slow to rogue, buffing mutilate for no good reason. Rogues was already overpowered even before you guys decided to do all that. They already had like 7/4 of CC and preparation, which resets all their cooldowns, right? Shadow Priest. Like everybody know that Shadow Priest is gonna be so strong in phase 2 when they get Shadow Form and all this utility. But you guys still added the Burning Crusade abilities like Shadow Word Death, which were made in era when everybody has 3 times more HP than they do in Classic. So, you know, Penance, Dispersion, all these abilities are just insane. Like most of the Priest runes need nerfing currently. Melee Hunter, okay? You see, Melee Hunter, I was making so many videos about Melee Hunter before, but now it feels forced. The class doesn't feel special anymore, and the problem is nobody's really learning the class and theory crafting about them. They just use the current meta setups. You see, why I loved Hunter before is because they had one of the highest dodge and parry chance, which was insanely good against melee classes. They have one of the best scaling in the whole game. They get 30% bonus HP and 35% bonus agility from Rune of Lion and survival talents, and now they also get more HP on battlegrounds and so on. So hunters now have like 50% bonus HP than more classes. You see, I think it was good that you guys added more stamina and maybe added PvP resilience, but this is only gonna make classes like hunters and priest even more oppressing. You see, there are some reasons why I didn't really like playing some classes like seal twisting on paladins or rage management and stance switching on warriors, you know? And that will be okay if you would actually have some fun abilities to press like shockwave or blade storm or spell reflect. But we have nothing like that now, and so there is not really much reason to play this class, and you know, Warlock is getting a bit better now, you see, but a lot of these classes rely on hard casting, which is not really viable in PvP. You know, they can just crowd control you, they can just silence you, you know. Shaman still relies on flame shocks to apply his lava burst and chain lightning, which only has like 20 yard range, which really sucks. You know, this is what Rune should be about, fixing some of the WoW classic frustrating game design and adding some fun abilities to classes, not just adding some overpowered abilities that totally break the balance of the game, you see. You know, now Shadow Priest and Warlock, you know, get a rune where their dots can actually crit, which is really insanely good and probably needed. And I really hope they nerf some of the, you know, Shadow Word Death, they nerf rogues, like Melee Hunter, it feels too forced now, you know. The druids are very good, they can change forms, Resto Druid was always very strong. I still remember in Molten Core, when I was out healing everybody, you know, and I wasn't even a Resto Spect. I was just using Regrowth, Rejuvenate and Tranquility, you see, and I give Thorns to tanks so they love me, you know, Thorns are so good for tanks. But now you see Shaman, Resto Shaman is just insane. You have like 1-2 abilities that literally heal everybody and you never run out of mana. Meanwhile, Enchantment Shaman has like only 2 buttons to press, and Elemental Shaman is so inconsistent, you see. So there is so much PvP balance they can do here, and I don't know. Now, for example, you see a big problem with Mage currently is that we don't really have a lot of counters, a lot of mobility. You are pretty much losing against most casters. You have no chance against warriors who can just, you know, charge out of your Frost Novas, especially Gnome warriors. You get two-shotted by rogues, right? Why did they buff Mutilate? I don't understand. Why did they add Teleport to rogues and 50% slow leeway, right? Rogue was probably already the strongest PvP class even before they did that, right? Rogue really didn't need anything. They even added 50% range slow and stun, which rogues never really needed. They added Penance, Shadow Word Death to Priest, all these overpowered Wrath of the Lich King spells that have no business doing in WoW Classic, you know? It's like, what are we even doing here sometimes? Like, I know Season of Discovery is supposed to be, you know, just a fun experiment, but also, you know, people say we don't want another Wrath of the Lich King, but what we wanted is some fun abilities, gives us reason to play our class. Currently I have no reason to play Protection Warrior, because we don't have Shockwave, we don't have Spell Reflect, right? This is the runes we wanted, you know? And then you can just add more creative runes on top of that, or runes that actually fix some of the classic designs, like bear swipe, for example, you know, how to buff their AoE, for example. And I think it's okay that hybrid classes are a bit lower, like 10 to 15% under poor DPS specs, you know? But it also feels like, you know, for example, let's talk about Shaman. Your Shaman tank is really fun, but Enchantment Shaman, it really feels like we are lacking some more buttons to press, you know? Resto Shaman is just insane now. Healers are pretty much insane currently. You added all these overpowered heal abilities to them. They have infinite mana, they can literally press 2 buttons and heal the whole rate very easily. Like, I don't know, there are some balancing issues here, I think, guys, you know? It almost feels like you guys never played a proper PvP game in your life, you know? It's like, you see, every PvP game out there don't have more than 2, 3, 4 seconds slow duration. But in World of Warcraft we have 5-10 seconds. Do you guys realize how insane it is to have 50% slow that lasts 5 to 10 seconds? Every PvP game out there would have the duration maximum 2, 3, 4 seconds. Because slow is one of the strongest crowd control in the game. If you are slowed, you cannot juke in any action combat game. But you guys are just adding 50% slows to rogues and what? And teleport, you know? What are we doing here? It's like, bruh, did you guys ever design the PvP game before? You know, that's my question. I think currently one of the biggest problem with class balance is that we don't really have a good reason to play the class. I have no good reason to play Protection Warrior currently, because we don't have any fun abilities like Shockwave or Spell Reflect, you see. And this is what we needed when, you know, people say that we don't really want another Wrath of the Lich King, but what we wanted was some fun runes and abilities like Bladestorm, Shockwave for warriors, or, for example, Blazing Speed for mages. This will be so fun. You see, when you get hit by a melee range attack, you increase your movement speed and you remove all the slows and roots. And this is actually probably the sole reason why I would play Fire Mage in Wrath of the Lich King Classic. You see, this is the talents we wanted, not some overpowered abilities and passives that totally break the balance of the PvP, you know? Hello guys and welcome. Today we are going to go over all the... Slow is one of the strongest crowd control in such games, right? Because when you are slowed you cannot juke, and if we are adding all this utility and control to these classes that don't really need it, then why is Mage still doing so bad, you know? And I think, you see, a big problem currently is that not only we have this artificial content and wasting our time with runes, but there is not really much reason to play certain classes. For example, Protection Warrior, I really have no reason to play it because we don't have Shockwave, for example, or we don't have Spell Reflect for any warrior spec, which is a huge issue. And this would really make class so much more fun. You know, people say that we don't really want another Wrath of the Lich King, you know, but we do actually, right? Because Wrath of the Lich King was the most complete form of class balance. And the biggest problem with Wrath of the Lich King is that we still don't have a single balanced PvP English server, at least for EU, which is the biggest region, right? So you guys, you know, the issue is that you guys added a bunch of overpowered passives, overpowered abilities, right? For example, Shadow War Death on a priest, which is 35 range, and it does like 1000 damage. It's insane. Penance is also, half of the priest runes are currently insane, and so are rogues, you know. But what we really wanted was to add some fun abilities like Bladestorm or Shockwave to warriors, or you know, add for example, this is what they should add to mage, Blazing Speed. Okay, this will be the sole reason why I would like to play mage in Wrath of the Lich King, because you see, when you get hit by a melee or range attack, you increase your movement speed and you dispel all movement impairing effects like slow and roots, and this is really huge and fun. This is the talents we needed, not some overpowered runes that ruin the class and PvP balance in this game. Hello guys and good morning. Today we are gonna do a tier list for Season of Discovery, all the classes, which classes are best in PvP, okay? Now I already made this tier list and then I realized my voice was not recording, so I'm a bit of a pissed off right now, so you will have to excuse me here. Hello guys, good morning. Today let's talk about Season of Discovery and which class is currently the best in PvP and which class is the worst, okay? Now the problem with tier list is that you know, if you wanna make a tier list, you really need to have a high understanding of all classes, which most people don't really do. Even myself, I didn't play every class here, you know. I watch a lot of videos, a lot of streamers, I'm reading a lot of Reddit posts, you know, talking about these issues. But the reality is that most tier lists are actually made for noobs or by noobs, because you really have to be a bit of ignorant to think that you understand every class. You have to play every class to even understand it. For example, Druid have ability called Hurricane that reduce enemy attack speed by 25%. This is probably one of the best debuff in the whole game that makes any PvE encounter and even bosses easy job, because you see, most of the damage comes from basic attacks, and if you reduce their attack speed, your tank takes almost 2 times less damage. But you have to play the class to actually understand all these niches and, you know, all the buffs, debuffs they bring, and so on and so on. That's also one of the reasons why I don't like some of these classes. You see, Warrior, I don't really like playing Warrior, changing stances depending on a rage, it sucks. I don't like Seal Twisting for Paladins, and I feel like Rogues are so overtuned and Priests right now that I don't even wanna play them. So, let's go, let's talk about this.